Do you need an easy way to press your bow at the house so you can work on it without having to rely on a shop? Let me show you how.
Oh, dude.
Welcome back to Knocked Up Outdoors How-To Series. In this series, I am going through a complete bow setup, whether it's from scratch, you just bought a new bow, or maybe you're putting some new accessories on it and your strings and everything like that. So this is the first video in a long series of other ones to teach you guys how to work on your bow yourself. If you guys are enjoying this content or like this video and it helped you out, make sure you ring that bell and smash that subscribe button so you don't miss any of the other videos that we drop. And then maybe you'll just learn something, you never know. So this first one we're starting out with, there are multiple ways to press your bow. One of the easiest ways is obviously going to be like an easy green press that you find in a professional shop or something of that nature. But those are expensive and not everybody has the luxury of getting those. So what I'm going to teach you how to do today is how to use this Bowmetic cable press. So these things are great as a cheap alternative if you got a little home shop that you're not really pressing your bow all that often, maybe just to change a peep sight or change your strings every now and again. These things are awesome because you can do it relatively quickly and it's very inexpensive. You can also pack this thing in your pack whenever you go on backcountry hunts in case something happens to your bow, and you can work on it in the field if need be. Tools that you're gonna need in this video are obviously gonna be your Bowmetic cable press, and with that comes these arms that come with it. I'll teach you how to use these in a second. And then in the recommended tools, this is just gonna make your life easier. So these ultimate limb brackets, but you really don't need it to do the job, but I bought these and it makes your life a whole lot easier. And then if you got it, just a socket wrench, because this arm is sometimes just hard to turn. So again, just ease of use for the socket wrench. The way that this Bowmetic cable press works is you've got these two ends here that lock into place at different increments. This right here that you can go depending on the length of your bow. And then this cable goes around a system of pulleys that you then either tighten or loosen via this bolt in order to use. So the traditional way that it's meant to be used without any of the limb arms is you stick these metal parts through the arms of your bow like this, okay? And when you crank on the bolt, it brings these limbs closer together. Let me tell you why I don't like this way. The cable is so far down on your limb that it takes a lot of cranking, and I don't like to put the pressure point of it on there. Now in the field, this is a great option if something were to happen to your bow that you need to do. It works just fine, but if you can avoid it, I wouldn't do it that way. The limb arms that come with your Bowmetic press, those on a split limb bow like this will slide in between your cam and go on either one of the limbs. Unfortunately, these don't work with my bow, and I'm assuming most of the other Matthews, they don't work as well because the cam wheel actually gets in the way, so they're not quite wide enough. But if you had a single cam bow or maybe a bow like this on behind the wall that you can slide in, this is a better option than what you could do before. The best option, however, is these ultimate limb brackets. You're gonna pay a little bit more money, but it's gonna make your life easier and it just keeps everything out of the way. There's a couple different things. There's a pin here, and then this little guard to help not scratch your limb comes with it. So now we're open, just like this, okay? And it's got these two little stops. What's gonna happen is you're gonna slide this on the outside of your limb, tuck this little guard into place, and then slide that pin back through the guard. So you're gonna wanna make sure that's pressed all the way through and it just kind of hangs there for the time being. Let me bring you in a little closer for this side so you can see what I'm doing. We're gonna slide it over the limb, Tuck this guard into place on the last hole. And then slide the pin through. And it'll pop out the other side here. Should get it all lined up. There we go. And then it's just going to rest right there. So now it can move freely wherever you need to slide it up and down on this limb. All right, so next step in this is we're going to take our press and wind it all the way down. What you're going to want to do is make sure that the cable right here is seated. You can see it's got a groove in the middle. You want to make sure that that's seated in there correctly, okay? We will start with this left side, and then I'll bring you guys in closer for the right side. What we're going to do is pull this arm up, and you tuck this orange piece into the top, and then it sits there and locks into place, okay? And you're going to repeat that on the other side. All right, so we've got the one side in, and it's all good to go. And then we're going to, again, keep tension on this cable and pull this over here, slip it through the top. And now on this side, you always do this side second, okay? This side is the one with all the little notches. You use the eye hole and slide. This moves. So you slide it up to find your notch, whatever the length of your bow, get the closest one you can, and then tuck it over to where it locks into place and it looks exactly like the other side. Perfect. So here you've got the upper stops. So the lower stop, the orange thing, is going to be on the inside of your limb, and then the upper stops are going to be on the outside of your limb. That's what creates the torque in order to get your bow to press. These here, the spacing in between these and the cams, see how there's a little bit of space here, should be even on both sides, and you want to suck this up as high as you can. So on my bow with this Matthews, these actually hit these cam wheels here, so I can't go any higher. That's as high as you can go and as tight as I can make it. All right, so now that we've got our ultimate limb brackets in place, you're going to want to, this last bracket here, slide this down to where you're giving yourself a few inches of space. Because if you start here and start to wind, you're going to run into this and then you got to start all over. So give yourself a few inches of space here, almost right above where your peep sight would go, okay? You're going to give this a few twists just to where this cable gets taut. Feels like your bowstring, okay? Then once you feel good about it, we're going to check our bow, make sure it's solid in place, come back to check our limb brackets on both sides to make sure that they didn't shift in the initial tightening. And once we are good to go there, that is when the ease of use socket comes into place. So yes, you can sit here and turn this, that's no problem, it's no big deal. It's how I started doing it. But if you grab a socket wrench, trust me, it goes a heck of a lot faster. Once you start pressing this bow and you get it to where it needs to be, it's tough to turn it with this little handle. So grab your socket wrench, and what you're going to do at the same time is I kind of hold this steel cable and I hold my string and pull up on your string. And you're just going to want to go slow with it, especially your first couple of times, making sure those limb brackets stay in place. You can feel that string loosening up, just enough to where your string is loose. You don't want to go much past that. Again, double check and make sure your arms are good. And that's it. You are ready to rock. You can split your string, throw a peep in, you can throw some dampeners in, change your strings, do all sorts of stuff. Helps whenever you're tuning your cams, but it's just a super easy way of pressing your bow at home if you don't want to spend the money on an easy green press and you don't have time to go to a shop. This is just self-independence, being able to do it yourself. So pretty awesome thing. We're going to let this down. We're going to let this bow down real quick, show you how to do that, and I'll get out of your hair. So again, holding the steel cable, holding the string up taut, flip your socket wrench back over to the reverse direction and let it down the same way you let it in. Just until you get some slack in there. And then what we want to do is make sure our cable limbs are still in place. Is a very important step. We double check Our cables are still on the wheels. Our string is still in the slot of the cam. Everything's still on the roller guard, and everything is the way that it came back, and nothing happened while we pressed it to make sure that we're staying safe. That's it. You slip the cable out of the ultimate limb brackets, take it off, and you're ready to rock and roll. So thank you guys for tuning in to learn how to press your bow with the Bowmedic press. Make sure you jump into the next video where I teach you how to change your strings. Let me know if you got any questions. Y'all stay knocked up.